ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस।
We welcome all of you to today's class on Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. We are studying third chapter, verse 23 onwards. Here Bhagavan is answering Arjuna's question regarding what is best for him, whether Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, because after hearing Bhagavan's lecture, Arjun got doubt what is best for him, and he thought that Jnana Yoga is superior to Karma Yoga. So regarding that, Bhagavan is speaking, he is explaining Karma Yoga, and he has instructed Arjun to follow Karma Yoga. He told very clearly that with a detached feeling you should perform karma. That is best for you.
क्या चीज है एक जिसका करने से मेरे को श्रेय की प्राप्ति होगी।
He had asked, what is that one thing which if I follow will give best result to me. And then Bhagavan gave his own example.
त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन, कि मेरे पास कुछ भी प्राप्त करने के लिए नहीं है, मेरी
Bhagavan
कोई
said
इच्छा
that there
नहीं,
is nothing for me to
और
obtain.
फिर भी मैं
I have no
हमेशा
desire,
कार्य में संलग्न
but
रहता हूँ।
still I am always engaged in action.
तो उसी कड़ी में यहाँ पर ये बोल रहे हैं, यदि ही हम न वर्तयम जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः। हे अर्जुन,
Translation:
यदि मैं कभी
If
भी
I ever ceased
सत्संगता
to be vigilantly engaged in action, O Arjuna,
निश्चय ही
then certainly
सभी मनुष्य
people in general
मेरे पास
would
निकट हो
follow my
जाएंगे।
footsteps in all respects.
तो भगवान कहते हैं कि अगर वो कार्य नहीं करते हैं तो दूसरे लोग भी उनका आचरण
So
को
Bhagavan is
फॉलो
telling
करेंगे,
that if he
अपना
stops
कर्तव्य कर्म
performing
करेंगे,
action, then being
जिससे
influenced by
क्या
this
होगा,
behavior,
पूरा समाज
the ordinary
पहले
people
की
they
तरह
will
नहीं
also
रह
stop
जाएगा,
performing
सबको
action,
इकट्ठा
and
कर
that will
लेगा।
be a great, it will cause a great damage to society,
तदनुवर्तते,
because he had told
शास्त्र
earlier
आचरण करते
that
हुए
whatever superior people
पड़ता है,
do, it influences the ordinary
जो
public.
पुरुष अपना कर्म त्याग कर
And
दे
if the Shrestha people, if
तो
they
दूसरे
give
लोग
up
भी
their
उसके
karma,
ऊपर कर्म
then other
करने
people will also be influenced and inclined to give up their karma, and that will
इसलिए
lead
कहते हैं
to
कि
very chaotic
निष्काम
situation in the society. That's
जातु का
why
मतलब
Bhagavan is
सदा,
telling
ऐसा नहीं कि 5 दिन किया फिर 2 दिन वीकेंड पे छुट्टी कर दिया,
that always we
फिर
have to be engaged, not that we
पूरे
take
साल
off on weekends.
छुट्टी होती रहती है, स्कूल की कॉलेज की, काम पे लोग इधर उधर जाते हैं, कहते हैं मैं ऐसा नहीं करता,
So Bhagavan
हमेशा
says
वहाँ
that I do not take any
कभी भी
holiday.
निराश नहीं,
I am always
और
engaged in action.
सर्व प्रकार से
In all
जैसी
ways,
भी स्थिति होती है
whatever be the
उसी प्रकार से
situation,
मैं कार्य करता
according
हूँ।
to the situation,
जैसे
I
आप
keep
घर पे हैं,
performing action. You can see now I am
जैसे
driving your chariot also.
क्षत्रिय हैं,
So Bhagavan is a Kshatriya,
सूत हाँकना तो सूत का कार्य होता है,
and but driving
इसलिए
chariot
अर्जुन
is
ने
the role of
कहा
to be
था,
performed by a Suta. But Arjun had
इसलिए कहते
requested
हैं
him
सर्वसह,
that you become my chariot driver.
और
That's why
पार्थ
Bhagavan is
कहते
telling
हैं,
Sarvasha.
तो कहते हैं अतंद्रिता। ऐसा है कि किसी को कुछ काम करने के लिए दे दिया जाए तो अपने मन से नहीं करता है,
If somebody is
जिसको
told
करना
to
है
do
उसको बोलता है
something,
कि फिर मैं
then he generally doesn't desire to do it internally. He just wants to finish it off as quickly as
जैसा
possible and run away.
अभी हम या स्कूल में
When it is
स्कूल का समय समाप्त होता है तो
when the school hours are over or office hours are over, you see the
मतलब
children,
उसमें उनका
they feel so happy, and they or the employees, they feel so happy when
दबाव
office hours are over.
ऐसा
That
कुछ
means
रहता है,
they are internally not inclined
उत्साह
to do
नहीं
that
है,
action. They do not have the
इसलिए भगवान
enthusiasम
कहते हैं कि
to work. But here
यदि ही हम
Bhagavan
न
is
वर्तयम
telling
जातु कर्मणि अतंद्रिता, बिना किसी तंद्रा के, बिना किसी निद्रा के। लोग क्लास में आते हैं तो झूमने लगते हैं,
when people come to class,
कहीं झटका आ जाता है नींद का, कहीं तो
they
सो भी
start
जाते हैं,
feeling sleepy.
तो
Many
कहते हैं कि
students actually fall asleep also.
मैंने
But Bhagavan is saying,
सावधानी से कार्य करता
I work very carefully.
हूँ, और ऐसा करने से इसका असर दूसरों पर पड़ता है।
And by working like this, it creates an impact on others also.
मेरे विचार से 3 मुख्य बिंदु भगवान ने कहे हैं।
So according to
एक तो ये
me,
है कि
there are three
अतंद्रिता,
most important
सावधानी,
points regarding Karma Yoga that Bhagavan is telling. First is
तस्माद असक्तः
Atandrita, do it very carefully.
कर्म समाचर, एक आसक्ति छोड़कर
Secondly,
कर्म में
perform
आसक्ति,
Karma Yoga without
कर्म में
attachment,
आसक्ति और कर्म में
without
आसक्ति,
attachment to karma, the result,
तो
and
3
the doership.
आसक्तियों को छोड़कर
By giving up attachment to
और
all the three,
अतंद्रित
perform
होकर
karma
सावधान पूर्वक
and doing it very
समाचर,
carefully. And the third is
कर्म
samachara,
समाचर। समाचर का मतलब बढ़िया से ठीक से करना,
do it
आप सावधानी से
properly, nicely.
कार्य, मतलब आप सावधानी का मतलब होता है कि आप जागरूक हैं,
Doing carefully means you are
जैसे
aware,
करना जो विधि है
you are
उस
awake,
विधि से नहीं कर रहे हैं,
but then you may not do
जैसे
it
गाड़ी
according
चलाने
to
में भी
the
एक सही विधि
prescribed
होती है, एक
process,
गलत विधि भी होती
because
है।
any action can be done in the right way
तो
or in the wrong
समाचर
way.
का मतलब होता है
So samachara means to perform the action according to the prescription, according to how it should be done.
कर्मयोग के सिद्धांत भगवान ने दिए यहाँ पर।
So Bhagavan has explained these three important points about karma yoga here. First, act without attachment. Second, do it properly. And third, do it carefully
कहने का मतलब जागरूकता से,
with
यानी कि
awareness.
आप कोई काम जिस करते हैं उसकी आदत पड़ जाती है आपको, तो
When
आदत पड़
you
गई तो
regularly do some
उसको
action, you become used to
उसमें
it.
जागरूकता नहीं है।
But when you become used to
कंपनी
it,
में
you
अगर
do
आप
it
गाड़ी चलाते हैं
properly, but then you are not aware
तो ठीक
about
से गाड़ी चलाना
that
सीखते हैं,
action. Say you
लेकिन
drive
उसमें जागरूकता
and
नहीं
you
होती
know
है,
how to drive
लेकिन
properly, but then you
ये
do
आपके
not have to remain
ऑटोमेटिक
much
हो जाता
aware
है,
about it because you
हो
have so
जाता
much
है। लेकिन
you are so much used to driving.
तो भगवान यहाँ कहते हैं कि जागरूक होकर कार्य कीजिए, क्योंकि
So here
ऐसा
Bhagavan
नहीं
is
होगा,
telling
क्योंकि ऐसा करने से ही
act
जो
with
है आप कर्म बंधन से
awareness.
छूट जाएंगे।
Because if you do like work like this,
तो
then you will be liberated from the bondage of karma. Otherwise, when you perform karma, it creates a samskara and then it makes attachment.
छूटने का तरीका यहाँ
Then
पर
how will
बताया
you
है,
become free of the attachment? So
जैसे
here he is giving the process
कुछ
how to be free from that
सिगरेट
attachment. Like somebody
तो उसको
is,
सिगरेट
let's say
पीता है,
somebody is smoking
आनंद आता है,
and he derives pleasure
कुछ
in
थेरेपी मिलती
smoking.
है ना अच्छी, उसका तनाव कम होता है जो भी है, लेकिन वो अगर पीता है तो वो जागरूकता से नहीं पीता है। अगर वो
But say
जागरूक
that person
होके
is not smoking with awareness. If he smokes with awareness, then it will be possible for him to give up the habit of
तंद्रिता से पीता है
smoking.
वो, जो भगवान ने कहा ना कर्मणि अतंद्रिता। तो जिसको जो कार्य छोड़ना है
So,
उसको अगर अतंद्रिता करेंगे आप, तो उसमें धीरे धीरे आपकी आसक्ति खत्म हो जाएगी, फिर आप कर
so
सकते
if
हैं उसको,
you
क्योंकि आप
are if you want to give up any bad habit,
छोड़ना चाहते हैं
so
दूर
if
से,
you do it carefully, then you will be able to give it up
तो
with
इसमें एक
awareness. If
सिद्धांत
you are
है
doing
कर्मयोग
it,
का
then you can give it
जो
up.
कि बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, इसको समझना।
So this is the Siddhanta of Karma Yoga,
आप
which is very important to understand.
बिना किसी तंद्रा के, अवेयरनेस के साथ, जिसको बोलते हैं ना जागरूकता के
To
साथ,
act with awareness
और ठीक से करना,
and
और
do
ऐसे
it
करने से
properly.
फिर उस कर्म में बंधन नहीं होता। तो इसलिए भगवान कहते हैं
So if you act like this, then you will not be bound to the karma.
मैं इसी प्रकार कार्य
That's why
करता हूँ,
Bhagavan is saying
उसका
that
उदाहरण वो देते हैं।
I act with awareness.
तो रथ चलाने का जो उदाहरण है,
So
वो
this
अगर
example of driving chariot,
रथ चलाते समय उनको नींद का झटका आ जाए
that is the example
तो
of
उनको
working
नींद का
with
झटका आ जाएगा ना,
awareness.
और
So
पीछे से कोई
if he
कार
starts
चला रहा
falling
है
asleep while driving the
और उसको रथ
chariot,
चलाते
then
समय
people will
झटका आ
die.
जाए तो खुद भी मरेगा और जो उसके यात्री बैठे हैं वो भी मरेंगे।
The passenger sitting on the chariot will also die.
तो जीवन ऐसे ही जीना,
So this is how one should
बिना किसी
live
तंद्रा के,
without
जो भी करो आप,
falling asleep while working,
उसमें ऐसा
means
नहीं होता है कि
to
ये
work with
मेरा काम
awareness.
बड़ा है, क्योंकि
Then
वास्तव में
there is no work which
उस
is
कार्य को
inferior or
जो हम कर
superior.
रहे हैं,
Because actually
उससे
whatever work you are
उस
doing,
कर्म के बंधन से
the
निकलना ही
goal is
सन्यासी है।
to
अब उसमें
rise
कोई
above
मोक्ष
that,
भी होगा,
means to get liberated from the
ऐसा नहीं कि
bondage.
सन्यासी का ही मोक्ष होगा,
It is not that only sannyasi will
खेती
get
कर रहा है,
liberation
व्यापार कर रहा है,
and one who is doing business or agriculture will not get liberated. Bhagavan has told very clearly here.
जनक तो सन्यासी नहीं था, राजा था,
King Janak was not a sannyasi, he was a king. King has so many
त्याग त्याग
responsibilities.
करने पड़ते हैं,
It's a very stressful job.
लेकिन उसको भी सिद्धि प्राप्त हुई क्योंकि वो
But
तंद्रा
still
नहीं
he
था।
achieved perfection because he knew the principle
तो
of
ये बात
Karma Yoga,
समझना
the Siddhanta of
लोगों
Karma
से
Yoga.
आती नहीं है कि
So
हम
this is not easy to
बिना तंद्रा के
understand
कैसे कार्य कर सकते
that
हैं,
how to work without attachment.
क्योंकि हम जब भी कार्य करते हैं तो किसी
Because whenever
आसक्ति के बंधन में
we work
करते हैं,
with attachment.
तो इसको समझना है।
So this is
जो
what
आगे
we have to understand.
इस बात को
Because in the upcoming verses, Bhagavan will
बना
speak
सकते हैं इस
repeatedly
बात को,
to work
क्योंकि
without
हमारा जो भी
attachment.
अनुभव है कार्य करने का,
Because whatever
उसको
experience we
आसक्ति
have
से करना
of working till now,
हमारी आसक्ति
that
रहती
is
है
of working with attachment.
कुछ ना कुछ प्राप्त करना है, उसमें
We
आसक्ति है,
have
उसके कारण वही हमको
we are
चलाता है।
attached to get some fruit or the other from the work, and that attachment
ऐसे
is
कार्य करने
what
की जो
drives
प्रेरणा
us
होती है
to work,
उसमें फल
what
नहीं मिलता
inspires
है,
us to
लेकिन
work.
कर्म तो हम करते
It
हैं,
is the
उससे
result
फल
of that
प्राप्त
work
करते हैं।
that inspires
और
us.
यहाँ भगवान उसका उल्टा बोल रहे हैं।
But here Bhagavan is speaking exactly the opposite.
कर्म और कर्म योग में यही अंतर है।
So this is the difference between
केवल
karma and
कर्म
karma
मात्र
yoga.
करना, क्रिया मात्र करना, तो वो तो फल के कारण करते हैं, तो
Just
उससे बंधन
doing
होता है। और
karma,
कर्म योग जो बता रहे हैं
that leads to bondage. But here
कि
Bhagavan is
आप
speaking of karma
सकारात्मक
yoga,
कार्य कीजिए
that is to
और
work with awareness.
इसको अगर नहीं करेंगे
If you do not work with awareness, if you do not work the way Bhagavan has explained, then
दुर्लभ हो जाएगा,
there will be
बहुत अव्यवस्था हो जाएगी।
lot of disturbance and
इसलिए
chaos in
भगवान
life.
के साथ तो ऐसा कभी संभव नहीं है कि वो कार्य
So
ना करें,
in case of Bhagavan, it is not
क्योंकि
possible
उन्हें कुछ प्राप्त
that
करना नहीं है और उनके अंदर शक्ति है कार्य करने की।
he will not act because he has the energy to act and he doesn't have to
इसलिए
obtain
उनके
anything.
ऐसे
And
तमस रजस इनका कोई प्रभाव पड़ता नहीं
there
है।
is no influence of Rajas and Tamas on Bhagavan
तामसिक वृत्ति बढ़ जाती
because
है,
when the
उससे फिर निद्रा,
vritti of
निद्रा,
Tamas
निद्रा,
increases in a person,
ये सब कई
then
प्रकार के
sleep, illusion,
अवगुण शरीर में आते हैं, मन में आते हैं, उनको प्रभावित करते
all
हैं।
these bad qualities, they arise and they influence the person, and the person is not able to work properly, or maybe he doesn't
हमारे
even
ऊपर तो इन
like to
अवगुणों का कोई
work.
प्रभाव पड़ता नहीं है,
But
इसलिए हम
Bhagavan is not influenced by all
अच्छे
this.
काम करते हैं।
So
जैसा
he
उन्होंने
works
उपदेश
properly.
दिया है अर्जुन को, वो वैसा स्वयं भी करते हैं।
The way he has
ऐसा
instructed
नहीं है कि
Arjun,
उपदेश
he
देते हैं
himself also follows that.
फिर उसके बाद में
Bhagavan is not somebody who
दूसरे
just
रास्ते
gives
पे चले
lecture
जाएंगे।
and then
तो
goes
जो
and
अर्जुन को बोला था
sits like a lazy
सत्यम सूत्र
person.
सत्यम कार्यम कर्म समाचार, उसको बताते हैं कि मैं भी ऐसे ही करता हूँ।
What Bhagavan told Arjun, he himself also
इसलिए उनकी बात
always
का इतना
follows.
प्रभाव है
That is why his statements
कि
have
जो
such a
स्वयं
deep
अनुसरण
impact.
करता है
One who himself
और वो उसका
follows
अनुरूप फिर उपदेश
the
देगा तो उसका
injunctions of Shastra
उपदेश
and acts and instructs accordingly, then his instruction create a
भगवान
deep
स्वयं ही
impact.
समझा रहे हैं
So Bhagavan himself
कि
is
देखो मैं भी इसी
explaining this that see,
कार्य में
I am
संलग्न हूँ।
also busy in action.
और यदि ही हम न वर्ते, यदि माने ऐसा तो हो ही नहीं
So
सकता, इसलिए यदि यहाँ संभावना
the
है,
word yadi which is used
जैसे
in this verse is in
हमेशा
the
ऐसा
sense
नहीं हो
of
सकता, हमेशा
possibility.
तो एक संभावना होती है,
Like in apichet
इसलिए यदि
duruchara.
संभव
So
नहीं
api
है
is just a
तो
possibility.
संभावना को
Which
ले
it
करके,
means that it is actually not possible,
तो
but
यदि
theoretically suppose if it
यदि अगर
happens.
ऐसा कभी हो
So here
तो
Bhagavan is
फिर
telling
ऐसा हो
yadi
नहीं
means
सकता।
assume theoretically if it happens, which
और
means
फिर यहाँ
actually it will not
कहते हैं
happen.
कि न वर्तयम, अगर मैं ना करूं तो वास्तव में तो भगवान सत्य संकल्प हैं,
So assume theoretically if Bhagavan stops
संकल्प
acting.
मात्र से ही
So actually
सब कुछ
Bhagavan is
प्राप्त
Satya
कर सकता है।
Sankalpa, meaning just by
तो
his
वही
Sankalpa he can obtain everything, but still he
जैसा
works.
पहले कहा था, लोक संग्रह अपि संपन्स्यन्, तो लोक संग्रह को देखते हुए भी वो उसको करते
As it
हैं।
was said earlier, considering Loka Sangraha also
और
Bhagavan works.
फिर उसके बाद में वो कहते हैं कि मम वर्तमान
And then he says
मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः, कि अगर मैं नहीं करूंगा तो लोग मेरा
that if I
अनुवर्तन
stop
करेंगे।
working, then people will start
तो ये बड़ी
following my example.
आश्चर्यजनक या
So
रोचक
this
बात है
is a great
कि
wonder
कोई व्यक्ति
that
अगर सही काम
if
करता
a
है
person is doing something right,
तो हमारी उतनी इच्छा नहीं होती है कि हम
then
भी उसकी तरह
we do not feel much inclined to follow that person. But if somebody does something wrong, then immediately we
इसलिए
hold on to that example. That's why
वो कहते
Bhagavan is
हैं कि
telling
मैं
here,
करूंगा
if I do
तो
not
लोग मेरा ही
work,
अनुसरण
then
करेंगे,
people will
अनुगमन
start
करेंगे।
following him.
तो तब कुछ लोग करें कुछ ना करें,
If I work, then maybe some people will follow
लेकिन
me,
मैं
some do
करूंगा
not follow. But if
तो
I
सब लोग
start
करेंगे।
doing the wrong thing, then everyone will
यही
start
तो
following my
मनुष्य की प्रवृत्ति जो
example.
है ना,
It means
हमको जल्दी
that
पकड़ती है,
it is human being's nature to hold on to the wrong example very quickly. Because to rise up, you have to work hard. But to fall down, you don't have to do anything. Gravitational force is enough to make us fall down. That's why Bhagavan is telling here
कि मनुष्य जो है वो सर्वशः सब
that
प्रकार से
human being,
मेरा अनुसरण करने लगेंगे अगर
he
मैं गलत करूं.
human beings will follow me in every way if I start if I stop working. Now also people say that Bhagavan did this, Bhagavan did that, then why can I not do it? So Bhagavan understands this. So what does this prove? It proves that the Shrestha people, those who have superior positions in society, who have respectable positions in society, who are leaders, they have tremendous responsibility that they should not act in any wrong way, because if they start behaving improperly, then it will have a very negative impact among the public. If they behave properly, then people will not follow them easily, because people have bad habits which they do not want to give up easily, but they have the tendency of holding on to the wrong example, catching the wrong example very easily. So that is why it is a great responsibility on the part of the leaders that they behave properly. In their behavior, there should be no corruption, no hypocrisy. So in today's society, this is a major problem that our that people that those who are leaders in the spiritual field or in the political field or any other field in the social life, whoever is occupying the top positions in that field, who are occupying respectable positions in today's situation, mostly their behavior is not according to Shastra. We do not see like that. What we see mostly is mithyachar, lot of show off. But if you analyze them, if you check them internally, then they are not like what they show off externally. So this is a major problem in today's society. That's why we keep hearing in news that he did this, somebody leader, he did that. And the news media, they also immediately catch the wrong news. If somebody is doing something right, it will not be highlighted in media. But if somebody leader is doing something wrong, that news immediately becomes viral. So why does it become viral? Because people are inclined to follow this wrong example. So today, the main sthai bhav in human beings is envy, not preeti. They want preeti, but they do not have that as the sthai bhav. The sthai bhav, the permanent mood today is envy. That's why they derive a lot of pleasure in criticizing others. We derive rasa according to in doing that which is according to our bhava. One who matches with that, our bhava, we make friends with that person. If you are talking something with some person and uh, he is saying something against what you are speaking, then you do not feel like speaking to him. So human beings' nature is full of envy. Even if two people have a loving relation, then there is jealousy between both of them. So this is tamas. This feeling arises due to the influence of tamogun. So if somebody is a sadhu leader, then he should be very careful that even if he does a small mistake, people will immediately catch that, and Bhagavan is the supreme
कितनी सावधानी
among
से कार्य
everyone,
करते हैं, तो
then
इसलिए बोल रहे हैं
how carefully he works.
कि मैं बहुत सावधानी से सतर्क होकर कार्य करता हूँ, क्योंकि अगर मैं
But I
समझ नहीं
work
पाऊंगा
very carefully with full
मेरे
awareness, because
परिश्रम
if I do not work, then
और
people will
समाज में बहुत
follow
विकृति आ
the
जाएगी।
wrong example,
तो इसलिए
and there will be lot
के
of
बारे में सुखदेव जी
chaos in
कहते हैं यद
society.
अनुग्रहाय
So
भगवान
Shukdev ji says,
मानुषम देहम आश्रित भजते तादृशी क्रीड़ा यत सुत्वा तत्परो भवेत, कि भगवान जो समाज में आते हैं,
he
ये कहते
says
हैं ना धर्म
that
संस्थापना
when
के लिए
Bhagavan appears in the society, in the human
जो आचरण
society,
करते हैं वो
as we hear, he appears for establishing dharma.
तो
So
प्रवचन
he does
करते
this
हैं
in two
भगवत
ways.
गीता का
One
प्रवचन
is
करते हैं,
by
वो
lecturing,
प्रवचन तो
like
बहुत
he
थोड़े
is
ही
giving lecture in Bhagavad-Gita.
मूल रूप से
His
अगर
lectures are very few. Primarily, Bhagavan
का जो समाज है
teaches
वो
the human
आचरण
society. He establishes
इसलिए हम
dharma
कहते हैं कि
by
अर्जुन को
his own
आचरण
example. He gave this lecture of Bhagavad Gita because Arjun asked for that.
लेकिन अपने
Bhagavan
आचरण से
Ramchandra, in
उसको
fact, did not give any lecture, but
तो इसलिए
he
आचरण
established dharma.
वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है
So
और उस
behavior,
आचरण
personal
का हमें
behavior is extremely important.
साधु
Character is
समाज में
very
कोई भी
important.
व्यक्ति किसी भी आध्यात्मिक संस्था
In
का
the Sadhu
सदस्य
Samaj, if any person is a
तो उसको
member
भी ध्यान
of
रखना
a
चाहिए कि
spiritual
उनके जो आध्यात्मिक संस्था
institution,
के मुखिया हैं
not
उनकी
that
को इस बात
those
का
who
विशेष
are
ध्यान रखना, लेकिन
heads of
आध्यात्मिक
those who are
संस्थाओं
leading
के
the spiritual
सदस्य जो हैं
institutions, only they need to be aware of
वो
this.
अपने
But actually, every member in the
आध्यात्मिक जीवन में
institution has to be
आवश्यक
aware
है,
of this,
जैसे
because
उसको आज्ञा
the
देते हैं ना
public
भगवान ने
considers every member of the
पूरा
spiritual
देश को बदल
institution
दिया है,
as an
देश
ideal
देशभर में तिलक
example.
लगाते हैं और
So if you dress as a sadhu, if you put on the tilak,
पोशाक होती है उसको पहनते हैं साधु की, तो लोग उसी को प्रणाम करते हैं नहीं समाज
if
में।
you dress like a sadhu, then
तो
people
इसलिए
pay
हमारा
obeisances
यह
to you,
कर्तव्य
they
बनता
respect
है कि
you.
अपने आचरण को ठीक रखें और
So
अपने
then it is your duty to
देश
act
है, जो
properly.
एक स्थिति है साधु समाज में, उसके अनुरूप आप आचरण करें।
So you
ये बहुत
should,
बड़ा
if
उत्तरदायित्व
you
है
are dressing like a sadhu, you should also
सभी
act
लोगों के ऊपर,
according to a sadhu. You should
और
behave
इसलिए भगवान
properly.
कहते हैं मम
It's a
वर्तमान
great
जो
responsibility
लोग आपका आचरण
on
देखेंगे वो
every
ऐसा ही
member of the spiritual
क्योंकि
institution or
वो उसका
society. But if you act
अनुकरण
improperly, then
करेगा,
people
वो
will
मनुष्य है जो
follow
उसका
you.
अनुसरण करता है,
So Bhagavan is telling
जो उसका
here
अनुसरण नहीं
that
करता है वो
only
मनुष्य कहलाने
that person is fit to be called a human being
पार्थ
who follows my
सर्वशः
example.
अनुवर्तन्ते
One
मनुष्य
who does not follow my example is not fit to be called a human being.
जो आलसी है,
One who
प्रमादी है,
is lazy,
कामचोर है,
who escapes
मन
from
की रीति नहीं
working,
करता है,
who escapes
तो
from
वो
doing his duty,
मनुष्य कहलाने के लायक नहीं।
he is not fit to be called a human being.
मनुष्य में भगवान ने क्रिया शक्ति दी है, बुद्धि दी है, तो उसको अपने कर्तव्य को
Bhagavan has given buddhi to human beings. He has given the kriya shakti to human beings. So human beings should use
तो
that
उसका
with intelligence.
हमको भी अनुसरण करना चाहिए।
They should follow the example of
लेकिन
Bhagavan.
अगर ऐसा नहीं करते हैं
And
तो
if
क्या होगा?
people do not follow the example of Bhagavan, then what will
भगवान
happen?
बोलते हैं
So Bhagavan speaks in next
ईप्सी
verse.
देयुरिमे लोका न कुर्याम कर्म चेदहम शंकरस्य च कर्ता श्यामुपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः। यदि मैं कर्म ना करूं
Translation: if I did
तो
not perform action,
नष्ट हो जाएंगे
all these worlds
और मैं
would come to
सामान्य
ruin,
लोगों और उनके
and
कर्तव्यों
I
को
would
संकट
become the
करता हूं।
cause of the disruption of the
इस
social
प्रकार
classes and their
राष्ट्र के
duties.
लिए उत्तरदायी
In this way,
हैं।
I would be
तो
responsible
यहाँ
for the
देखिए
destruction of
क्या
these
प्रयोग किया है
people.
उन्होंने, न कुर्याम कर्म चेत हम। चेत का मतलब ऐसा अगर हो, सा मतलब होगा नहीं,
So
लेकिन
he's
अगर
telling
ऐसा
if
होगा
it happens, means it will actually not
तो क्या
happen,
होगा उसके
but
बारे में
if
बोल
it
रहे हैं।
happens, then he's explaining
तो
what will be the result.
जितने भी लोग हैं, लोग का मतलब
So
समाज, लोग का
all the
मतलब
lok here, lok means
सृष्टि,
society,
ऊपर नीचे लोग
creation,
हैं,
the upper,
क्योंकि
the
वो
lower
भी
planetary systems,
सूरज, दैव,
because
असुर इत्यादि
they are
जितने भी
also
अंश हैं
different living beings. The Daivi, the Asuri living beings, they are residing.
आचरण देखते हैं,
So they also
अगर वो अपना
observe
कर्तव्य कर्म नहीं
what
करेगा
Bhagavan
तो
is
सूर्य भी
doing.
अपना कर्तव्य कर्म नहीं
So
करेगा,
if
चंद्रमा भी
Indra
अपना
stops performing his duty, if Vayu, Varun, if they stop performing their duties, then the entire world will be destroyed.
अग्निकांड चल रहा है,
Now you can just see the fire tragedy going on in California. So many thousands of homes got destroyed. So the Agni Devata, if he becomes upset, then you'll have so much tragedy. All the technology also could not save. So if Prakriti shows its fury, then what can human being do?
भूकंप आ जाए, सुनामी
If
आ
there
जाए,
is an earthquake or a tsunami or excessive rainfall, sometimes it happens. There is excessive rainfall, there is flooding everywhere.
तो इसलिए कहते हैं कि
So here it is said
नष्ट हो जाए।
that the whole world will get destroyed.
अगर केवल समाज की दृष्टि से देखा जाए तो
If
समाज
you
जो
just
है
see from
संकर
the
हो जाएगा।
point of society, it will become Sankara. So what does Sankara mean? Just like karma and dharma are synonymous,
यानी कि अपने
if
धर्म
a person does not perform karma, which means that he does not follow his dharma, then what will
ऐसा
happen?
तो है नहीं कि वो कुछ भी नहीं
It
करेंगे,
is not that people will
अगर धर्म नहीं करेगा
not do anything. If you are not doing dharma, then you will do adharma.
कुछ तो करेगा ही।
You will do something.
भगवान ने पहले भी कहा
Bhagavan told earlier also
जातु तिष्ठति
that
कर्म कृत, कि बगैर कर्म
without
किए तो आप
without doing anything, nobody can
तो अगर आप
live for a moment
योग्य
also.
कर्म
So
यानी कि ठीक
when you are not
जिससे समाज की
performing
उन्नति हो, आप
your duty,
ऐसा कर्म नहीं करेंगे तो
which
आगे
leads
जाकर
to
समाज
upliftment
आपको
of society, of yourself, then you are doing something that will lead to your fall down, to the society's fall down.
आप दूसरे का कर्म करने लगे और वो किसी और का करने लगे तो पहली
So
बात तो है कि
this, so then society will become Sankara. You are doing somebody else's duty, others are doing your duty. Bhagavan told earlier also
और
that
ठीक से नहीं करेंगे तो अव्यवस्था हो
don't do something which is not according to your
जाएगी।
swabhava.
ये आज की स्थिति है,
Otherwise, there will be disruption in the society.
कार्य नहीं
So
करते
this is one problem
नियम
today.
कर्म
People do not function according to their
माने जो आपके
swabhava.
माननीय है, जो आपके स्वभाव से प्राप्त है, स्वभाव
Karyam
कहते हैं
karma means what you should do, which you have obtained according to your swabhava.
जब आप स्वभाव के
So you
पवित्र
do not do that
हैं तो वो
and you
मन
act,
में उद्वेग पैदा करेगा,
you do something that is contrary to your swabhava, then it will lead to psychological problems.
अगर आपका मन उद्वेलित है तो दूसरों को भी
Your
तकलीफ
mind will be disturbed, and when you will be disturbed, then you will end up disturbing others also. This is the problem in today's society. People think, what is the use of studying Bhagavad Gita? Will Bhagavad Gita be able to feed me and my family? But they do not know that at Bhagavad Gita goes at such deep, subtle level, and it can organize our life. It can make, it can restore order in our life, in society. We want that there should be order and peace in the society. That's why government frames so many laws. But still, despite all this law and order, so many crimes keep happening. So why does this happen? That is because if human being's mind is disturbed, no matter how many laws you frame, human being will break those laws.
अपना जो गलत काम है वो तो कर ही देगा ना, लेकिन अगर मन हमारा शांत है
But if the mind is peaceful,
गलत काम करेंगे
then we will not
वही सिखा रहा है।
act in the wrong way. And that is what Gita is teaching.
श्याम उपन्याय मां प्रजा, तो वो बोलते हैं कि मैं फिर
So
किसी
Bhagavan
के
is
प्रति एक कारण
saying
बन जाऊंगा
that I will become the cause of the
के
disruption
विनाश का कारण बनूंगा।
of the social classes
तो
and their
इसलिए हमें ये भी
duties, of
समझना है
responsible for
भगवान
destruction
जो
of
भी ऐसा
people.
कह रहे हैं,
So from this we understand that if Bhagavan is speaking like this about himself,
प्रतिनिधित्व कर रहे हैं,
then what to speak of those who are the representatives of Bhagavan, the Acharya, Guru, as Bhagavan says in Bhagavatam, that understand Acharya to be me.
करेंगे तो समाज
So Acharya also has similar responsibility like Bhagavan.
तो इसलिए
If Acharya acts improperly, then it will lead to destruction of the
समाज की है,
other
आचार्य को
people.
ग्रहण करना
So
है,
if
पालन
somebody
करना है, तो इसको
is
देखना
occupying the position of guru or acharya, then he also has to understand that he has a tremendous responsibility on himself. Not that you just always get your puja conducted and do whatever you like. So Bhagavan is telling that if I work improperly, if I do not perform my duty, the whole world will be destroyed. That is why there is a great responsibility on everyone. And he had told earlier also that you should not be attached to not working.
माते संगोस्तु अकर्मणि माँ कर्म फल हेतुर्भुर माते संगो अकर्म में भी आपकी आसक्ति नहीं होनी
You
चाहिए.
should not be attached to a karma that is not working also. Meaning, you should work according to Shastra. Otherwise, there will be Sankara in society. Arjun was also worried earlier about Sankara. Arjun had said that if we engage in the war, then our dynasties will be destroyed, our Kula Dharma will be destroyed. If Dharma is destroyed, then there will be Adharma. Dharma and Adharma are not like something alaukic. It simply means that if we are not doing our duty, then we will do other things which are not our duty. So then what will happen? There will be pollution in the society. And then it will give rise to Varna Sankara. Sankara, Arjuna had told about Sankara as Narak, means suffering. Because if we act improperly, then it will give wrong result. Because every action brings result. If we are not doing karma, then we are doing vikarma. And if we are doing vikarma, then it will lead to suffering. So dharma is that which holds.
तो धर्म जो है वो धारण करता है, यानी कि
So the dharma is that which holds.
और अगर धर्म नष्ट हो जाएगा तो अव्यवस्था
It maintains the order in society.
तो उसी से फिर
If dharma is destroyed, then society will be destroyed in the sense that everybody will have to suffer. That's why Bhagavan is telling, I am always engaged in action. So whether you are a sannyasi, grihastha, vanaprastha, whatever, everyone should perform karma. Bhagavan has never instructed anybody to give up performing action. Generally, people think that sannyasi gives up performing action, gives up karma. No. What happens is that sannyasi works, but he works for society, not for getting any result for himself. In Gita, Bhagavan has said
कि जो अनासक्त होकर
that one who
अनाश्रित कर्म फल की आश्रय को छोड़कर कार्य करता है,
gives up attachment, works without attachment, that is a real sannyasi, real yogi. Yogi means one who is doing karma. Here, yoga word is used for karma. So Bhagavan says that in there is no difference between karma yoga and sannyas.
ज्ञान योग संन्यास और कर्म एक ही है.
He said that Sankhya Yoga, Karma, Sannyas, these all are same only. One who considers them to be different, he is in an ignorant person. Their methods may be different, but their goal is same only. And the internal bhava is also same only. Means to work without attachment. In 18th chapter also Bhagavan says,
यज्ञतान तपांसिजम पावनानि मनीषिणाम कि यज्ञ दान तप ये कर्म करना चाहिए सन्यासी को.
There he says that even a sannyasi should do yajna, dana and tapa. It purifies the human society. And Bhagavan himself is the ideal example for what he is speaking. After this, in the next verse, he says,
भगवान कहते हैं कि सक्तः कर्मणि विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद विद्वांस तथा शक्तश्च चिकीर्षुर लोक संग्रहम। हे भारत, जैसे अज्ञानी
Translation:
मनुष्य
As the unaware
आसक्ति के
engage
साथ
in
कर्म करते
action
हैं,
with attachment,
उसी
O
प्रकार
Bharata,
विद्वान
so
मनुष्य
should the
चाहते हैं कि
wise
वे संसार
perform
के
action
कल्याण की इच्छा
without attachment,
आसक्ति
intending
से रहित होकर
the
करें।
welfare of the world.
तो ये बड़ी मजेदार बात है।
So this is very
पहले तो
interesting.
भगवान ने कहा
Earlier he
कि
said
यद यद आचरते
that
श्रेष्ठ तत्तदेवित्र जन, कि जो भी श्रेष्ठ पुरुष कार्य करता है वो
whatever the
दूसरे को
Shrestha people do, other
लेके
people
चलता है।
follow that.
और यहाँ क्या कहते हैं कि
But
श्रेष्ठ
here he
पुरुष को
is
ऐसे कर्म
saying
करना चाहिए जो
that
अज्ञानी करते हैं।
Shrestha people should work in a
पहले
way
श्रेष्ठ
that the
पुरुष को
ignorant
श्रेष्ठ
people
बताया
are
दूसरों को,
working. Earlier he
यानी कि
told that
श्रेष्ठ
Shrestha
पुरुष का
people are the
आदर्श
ideals
अज्ञानी
for others. And here he is making the Ajnani, the ignorant people, as the ideal
आसक्ति
for
के
the
साथ
Shrestha
काम करते
people.
हैं।
So he
जैसे
is
ज्ञानी
saying
आसक्ति
here,
के साथ काम
as
करते
the
हैं,
unaware engage in action,
खाली आसक्ति छोड़
so
के
the
ऐसे
wise
काम
should
करने से
perform
काम नहीं
action.
होता।
Just that the wise person
तो
should work without
ज्ञानी पुरुष
attachment.
का आदर्श कौन हो गया?
So for the Jnani, for the
इस
wise
प्रकार
person, who is
भगवान
the ideal example?
अविवेकी का नाम
The unaware person. Like Prahlad Maharaj says,
तो कहते हैं कि जैसे अविवेकी पुरुष की प्रीति
he
विषय
says
में रहती
just
है
like
भोग में,
the
ऐसे ही ज्ञानी
aviveki
विषय में
person,
रहे।
how
यानी
he is
श्रेष्ठ
immersed in
व्यक्ति जो है
sense
वो सबका
enjoyment.
आदर्श है,
Similarly, my mind should be
और
immersed in you.
अज्ञानी
So
जो है
the
वो ज्ञानी का आदर्श है।
ignorant person is becoming the
श्रेष्ठ पुरुष
example
का आदर्श
for
कौन है?
the Shrestha person.
वो विषय लिप्त व्यक्ति है।
For the
कहने
Shrestha
का मतलब ये
person,
है
the ideal is the person
कि
who
जो
is
व्यक्ति बहुत आसक्ति
Vishayi.
से, उसकी
The
आसक्ति
point
रहती है
is that just
पैसे
like the
कमाने में,
ignorant person, how he is so much attached to
उसके
earning
लिए दिन
wealth,
रात मेहनत
to
करता
sense
है,
enjoyment, and he works day and night. Nowadays, people perform two
तो
jobs.
वीकेंड पे भी काम करते हैं
They work in the
एक्स्ट्रा
weekends
पैसा कमाने के
also
लिए
for
करते हैं।
earning extra
तो कहते हैं कि ऐसे ही ज्ञानी को करना
money.
चाहिए।
Similarly, the
अब
wise
समस्या
person
ये है
should
कि
work.
वो तो इसलिए कर रहा है कि
But the
फल मिले,
problem is,
तो ज्ञानी क्यों करे?
the ignorant person is working
तो
to
इसलिए
get some
इसके लिए
result.
कारण देते हैं
But then,
चिकीर्षु
why
लोक
should the
संग्रह,
wise person
कि
act?
वो दूसरों के
So
भले
here
के
he
लिए
is
करे।
telling the wise person he should act for the welfare of
चिकीर्षु
the world
उसने कुछ प्राप्त कर लिया है,
because he has already attained something. So he
तो
should
प्रश्न जो आता है कि
continue working.
अनासक्त होकर
So
वो
the
कार्य क्यों
question that
करता है?
was raised that why should somebody
कई
work
साधु लोग ऐसे,
without attachment?
पहले किसी ऐसा एक साधु मेरे से बात कर रहा था,
Long time back, a sadhu was speaking to me.
कहता
He
इतना
was
मेहनत
telling,
करते
why
हैं
do you
तो
work so hard? He asked me, why do you work so hard? If you want to work so hard, why did you become a
बाहर
sadhu?
रहते हैं उनको करना पड़ता
People
है, वो
outside
आराम करते
work
हैं।
so hard, then sadhu
ऐसा
should
बहुत लोगों
relax.
में धारणा है, क्योंकि बहुत तामसिक
Many
लोग हैं इसलिए
people
साधु
think
बनते हैं।
that
कहते हैं क्या तुम दिन रात इसी में लगे रहते हैं,
sadhu need not work hard.
खाओ पियो मस्त रहो।
So there are many tamasic people who become
तो
sadhus and they remain lazy.
भगवान उसका उल्टा बोलते हैं।
But Bhagavan is speaking the
ऐसे
opposite.
में तो
He is telling
वो व्यक्ति जो अज्ञानी कार्य कर रहा है, वो तो अज्ञान से पराभूत होकर कार्य करता है, उसको पता नहीं है कि इसका अंतिम फल जो है
the
केवल दुखी होगा।
the ignorant person he is working with ignorance,
करना है
and the
कि
wise
समझे
person he should work hard with
कि ऐसा
understanding
करके मेरा भी कल्याण और
that
समाज
if
का
I
कल्याण
work
होगा।
like this, it will lead to my
भगवान
welfare as well as the
इसलिए
society's
कार्य
welfare.
करते हैं,
So Bhagavan
लेकिन
himself works.
वो तो परम ज्ञानी है, सर्वज्ञ है, और उनको कुछ प्राप्त नहीं करना है।
He
लेकिन
is
ज्ञानी क्या
supremely
सोचता है, मैं क्यों
knowledgeable.
करूं, कि मैं क्यों
He
करूं,
knows everything.
उसके लिए क्या
So
पैसे
if the
कमाने
wise
से
person
मतलब है।
gets doubt that why should I work, so Bhagavan is giving the answer that you work for the welfare of the
बड़ा
world.
उत्तरदायित्व है
Meaning there is a great responsibility on the wise person for
जैसे
the upliftment
पांच
of the
ऋषियों की
society.
बात करते हैं, ऋषि
Like
ऋग्वेद में,
Shastra says about 5 debts, debts to the rishis, the forefathers.
तो यहाँ वो कहते हैं कि ज्ञानी भी
Here Bhagavan is
समाज
telling
से जीता है,
that the wise
इसलिए उसको
person
समाज
is
के कल्याण के
also
लिए
living in the
कार्य करना
society,
चाहिए।
on the society,
तो
so he
ज्ञानी
should also
कैसे
work for
ऐसा
the
काम कर सकता है,
upliftment of the
तो
society.
उसकी प्रेरणा क्या होगी?
So the point is that what
उसकी
will
प्रेरणा
inspire him to work
प्रभु
because he
प्रेम है,
doesn't have attachment.
प्रेम है, यही प्रेरणा है।
So his inspiration should be his love for Bhagavan,
भगवान
his
स्वयं
preeti
प्रेम
for
है, इसलिए
Bhagavan.
वो ऐसा उपदेश
So why should we always work? Because our Bhagwan
प्रेम से
is
करने से
always
प्रेरणा
working,
होती नहीं है।
and there is no bigger inspiration than prema. It is
लेकिन फिर भी
the inspiration of prema is far greater than the inspiration of wealth.
अनासक्त होकर काम कैसे किया जाता है,
But
इस पे
still,
थोड़ा
what
समझिए।
is the process of
तो
working
वो ऐसे ही
without
मान लीजिए
attachment? This is what we have to understand.
किसी नाटक में
So you can take the
किसी
example of a drama or a movie.
अभिनेता होता है और वो अभिनय
The
करता है,
person who is acting in the movie,
तो अभिनय जो करता है तो बगैर आसक्ति के ही करता है ना।
so the actor is
वो
acting
अभिनय
without attachment. He's just
केवल
playing a role
अभिनय
there.
करके उसमें ये है कि इसको करने से मेरे को ये फल मिलेगा।
So by acting,
उसको
if
फल
he
मिलने वाला तो है नहीं, उसको तो केवल अभिनय करना है।
thinks this is the result I will get, so he just have
तो
to
उसकी फल की
perform the
चिंता नहीं
acting.
है, क्योंकि उसको पता है कि
His attachment is
होने वाला नहीं है,
not in the result of that particular role
फिर
that he
भी
is
वो करता
playing,
है,
but still he does his job.
तो इसलिए उस समय वो बंधता नहीं है।
So he doesn't
फिर भी
get
उसको
bound in
उत्साह
that
आता है।
particular role, and
अगर वो आसक्ति से
then
करेगा
only
तो
we
उसको
call him a
असफल
good
जाएगा।
actor. If he
एक बार
starts
रामलीला होती थी
acting with attachment, then there will be
महाभारत में,
problem.
ये
Once
भगवान राम का चरित्र
this Ram Leela was going on
जो
in India,
दर्शाया जाता है, बहुत पुरानी
the
पुरानी कथा है,
Ram Leela is a very
जिसमें
old tradition in Indian society. When there were no movies,
तो
etc.,
ऐसा हुआ
still
कि
there used to be Ram Leelas,
स्टेज पे
plays on the life of Lord
सीता विवाह
Ram.
था,
So once it happened,
जो रावण बना हुआ था,
the
तो स्टेज के बाहर भी उनका प्रेम था।
so Sita and Ravan, the
दोनों के
people who
बीच
were
में
doing the roles of Sita and
सीता
Ravan,
उसका, और जो
so
स्त्री
the
सीता
person
बनी थी
who was
वो
playing
दोनों
the role of Ravan
एक
had
दूसरे के प्रति
actually had love for the lady who was performing the role of
सीता का
Sita
स्वयंवर
outside the
था,
stage also. So
और
when
सीता के
the
स्वयंवर
Sita
में
Swayamvar
एक शर्त
uh,
रखी गई थी
scene was going
कि
on,
शिव जी का धनुष
so
था,
there was a condition in that
तो उस धनुष को लाया
there
गया
was a bow of Lord
कि
Shiva,
जो भी
and
राजा
that
उस
bow
धनुष
was
को तोड़
brought,
देगा
and the condition was that
उसकी शादी
whichever king
होगी।
can uplift this bow and break
तो
it,
बहुत सारे राजा आए,
he will be married to
इस
Sita.
रामायण में
So
लिखा है
so
कि बहुत
many
सारे
kings
राजा आए और कोई भी उस धनुष को
came
तोड़
there.
नहीं
So
सका,
it's said in Ramayana that so many kings came there, but
क्योंकि
nobody could
उसके
lift.
साथ में उनकी सहायता करने वाले
So
गए थे ना,
and Bhagwan Ram came there. He was
सुदर्शन थे,
brought by
तो
Vishwamitra.
भगवान राम उसको तोड़ते हैं, लेकिन
So
उस समय
Bhagwan
जब
Ram broke the
रावण भी
bow.
आया था,
But in this stage,
तो रावण भी
sorry,
अभिनय थोड़ा
in the Sita Swayamvar, Ravan had also
उसको
come.
तोड़ सकता था,
So
बलशाली था, मतलब अभिनय में तो उसको ऐसे ही करना था कि मैं इसको उठा नहीं सकता,
in
वो
the
जब
in the
धनुष वहां था
stage,
तो ऐसे थोड़ी
the
उठा
person
सकता
who
है,
was playing the role of
उसको कोई
Ravan,
भी उठा
he
सकता है,
was he was just
कोई
supposed
भी तोड़
to
सकता है, लेकिन
act
शक्ति
that he
ऐसे
could
आती है
not
कि
lift
उसका
the
अभिनय
bow.
होता है, वो आत्मा
That
उसकी
bow
नहीं
on
होती,
the stage was not actually the bow of Lord Shiva.
लेकिन
So
जब
they just
रावण
show
आया
like that.
उसको वो भूल
So
गया
on
कि
the
ये मेरा
stage,
अभिनय है,
when the person playing the role of
इसलिए
Ravan,
मैं कहता
when
हूँ
it was
शादी
his
के बाद
turn to
भी
lift the
जिसकी भी
bow,
शादी
he
हो जाए
forgot that I am just
तो
supposed to act.
उसके साथ उसकी
He
शादी
wanted
होती
to
है,
marry this
तो ये
girl
आया
playing the role of Sita.
और धनुष को उठा
So
लिया,
this person playing role of Ravan, he
उसको
actually
तोड़ने
lifted
वाले
the bow.
लोग
And when he lifted the
लोग
bow,
भी हंसने
then
लगे,
people got confused. What is going
लोग
on?
कहने लगे कि
Why is
इसको
Ravan
मार
lifted the bow?
कि जल्दी ताकि छोड़
So
के
people started saying that Ravan, there is
तो आए,
fire in Lanka. You
रावण
go
को
there,
बोला
leave this. So this person said, "Let there be fire in Lanka. Now is the time for me to get married to
एक
Sita."
समस्या खड़ी हो गई,
So now this is a big problem in the role play that Ravan has lifted the bow.
अब क्या किया जाए,
So now people are confused. What should we do? Because King Janak is also
उसने
sitting.
सोचा कि ये तो बड़ी
So
समस्या हो गई, मैं इसको
Janak
कैसे
thought
बचा
that this
पाऊंगा,
is a big problem.
तो उसने
What
जो
should I
उसके
do? So he tried to manage the
सहायक
situation.
थे उनको कहा, अरे
So
नौकरों,
he had an
ये
assistant.
गलत धनुष
He
लेके आए,
told the assistants that what have you done? You
इसको
brought the wrong bow here. I
धनुष
told
नहीं
you
है,
to bring the bow of Lord
भगाओ
Shiva.
इसको यहाँ से,
This bow has been broken by Ravan also. Throw off this bow.
तो
Bring the
उसने
actual bow of Lord
स्थिति
Shiva.
को संभाल लिया,
So this way he managed
और
the situation on the
धनुष
stage,
हटाई दी,
and the curtains were
लेकिन
closed,
क्या करते
and the person playing the role of
हैं
Ravan was beaten by others. That who told you to act like this? Who told you to lift the bow?
ये जो अनासक्त भाव से जो काम करना है वो ऐसे ही है जैसे
So the point
अभिनय
is
करना है,
that
तो अभिनय
acting
में
without
अगर
attachment, working without
उसमें
attachment
गड़बड़ हो
is
जाए
like a role play.
तो
So in a role play also, if you
कहेंगे सक्तः
start acting
कर्मण्येवाधिकारः
with attachment, there will be trouble.
भारत है। तो हमको देखना चाहिए कि जो
So we
आसक्त
should
व्यक्ति है वो
think
जितना
carefully.
आसक्त होता है वो उतना ही
The
काम
person,
जोर से करता है। किसी
the
अगर
more a
किसी
person
स्त्री में
has
आसक्त है
attachment,
या किसी लड़की में
if a boy is attached to a girl,
तो कितनी
but
जल्दी
the family members do not want him to get married to that girl, then
तो
how
इस
much
प्रकार
that boy analyzes, he
क्या
starts planning.
कहने का
So
मतलब
we
ये है
have to
कि
work like this, but without attachment.
अविद्वान जो है जो अज्ञानी व्यक्ति है जो
So
विवेक
the
नहीं है वो जिस प्रकार से काम करता है
ignorant person,
उस
the
प्रकार से
way he
करेगा
works,
लेकिन उसकी जो आसक्ति है
similarly
उस
the
पर
wise
नहीं रहेगी।
person has to work, just that do not take the attachment as the ideal.
तो इस प्रकार से
The
कार्य करने
ideal
से
part is just his
आपका भी
enthusiasm in
कल्याण और
working.
समाज का भी कल्याण
If you work like this,
होगा। और
then it will lead to your
इससे
welfare as well as the
दूसरे लोगों
society's
पर भी
welfare,
अच्छा असर पड़ेगा
and
कि
it
किस
will
प्रकार से उसका
bring favorable
आदर्श स्थापित हो जाएगा
result, favorable impact on the
और
society.
दूसरे ना भी
It will set an
देख
ideal
पाए
example. And even
तो
if
यहाँ पर ये
the
है
people in society do not see your example, let's say there is a
तो
sadhu
इसलिए दिखाना
and he is a
चाहिए
very ideal sadhu.
ताकि
So
लोग
the point is,
देखकर
should he show his ideal
प्रभावित हो
behavior to others so that people
ऐसा
get
नहीं है
influenced? Well, this also
तो इसकी
happens.
कोई आवश्यकता नहीं
There
है
is, so
अगर
the
आपके
answer
अंदर
is
वो
no,
गुण नहीं है
there is no need to
और दूसरे
show
लोग
the
उसका
ideal
पालन नहीं
behavior.
करेंगे
If
तो
your
उसके
behavior is ideal,
प्रभाव पड़ता है
even if people are not seeing you, still that will have an
तो हम
influence on the
जो भी कार्य
society.
करते हैं
Because whatever we
संसार में
do in this
उसका
world,
प्रभाव पड़ता ही है
it always
ऐसा
has
नहीं है
an influence.
तो अगर हम दुराचार करते हैं और हम
If we
छिपकर
act
करते हैं तो भी उसका प्रभाव पड़ता है
improperly, if we act improperly
अगर हम
hiding,
शिष्टाचार
then
से
also it has influence
दुराचार
in this
करते हैं
world. And if
तो लोग
we
देखें या ना
act
देखें हमको बस ये
properly,
नहीं करना है कि दूसरे देखें
whether others see
और
us
हो
or do
सकता है
not see
और
us,
लोक संग्राम से ये भी हो सकता है ना कि हम अच्छा कार्य करें और दूसरों को दिखाएं फिर
because this is
कि हम
also what
अच्छा कार्य
happens,
कर रहे हैं
that we act,
आजकल ये
people
ज़्यादा
think that we let us act
ज़्यादा
properly and also show to others that we are ideals.
तो कोई भी
Because
कार्य
nowadays
करें
is the world of social
उसको
media,
लोग
anything
देखेंगे कि
anybody
हाँ
does, people show it off in
इस
social
कार्य
media.
में
See, we are doing this, we are doing
तो
that.
हम कह
So
सकते हैं
there
कि
is no need
ये
for
कैसे
that.
है फिर लोक संग्रह
Because
और
somebody
लोग
may
इसलिए
say
नहीं
that
देखेंगे
people are that Bhagavan is telling here
दुनिया की तरफ
Loka
से
Sangra. So does
तो ऐसा
Loka
नहीं है
Sangra mean that you show off your ideal
लेकिन मेरी
behavior
बात तो यह है कि आप
to
गलत
this
काम मत
world?
करो क्योंकि इसका
No.
प्रभाव दूसरों पर
Bhagavan
भी
is
पड़ता है और आप
what
दूसरों
Bhagavan
को
means is that do
इसका
not act
प्रभाव पड़ेगा
improperly because that influences others,
अच्छा कार्य
and
करेंगे
act
लोगों को दिखाएंगे तो फिर
improperly
आप दिखाने
because
से
that
क्या
also
होगा
influences others. But
जनमानस
if you are acting properly,
आसुरी
there is no
संपत्ति
need to show it off to public because that will
संपत्ति
lead
है
to pride in you,
दैवी संपत्ति और आसुरी
and
संपत्ति
that is also
तो
wrong.
सबसे पहले
Because when Bhagavan speaks
आसुरी
of
संपत्ति
Devi and
को दूर
Asuri
कीजिए
Sampatti, in Asuri
दंभ
Sampatti, the first
जो इस
thing
सूची में है
he
वो है
says
दंभ
is Dambha.
दंभ का मतलब होता है दिखाना
Dambha means show off.
तो वास्तव में दंभ का मतलब तो ये है कि वो दिखाना जो आप नहीं है लेकिन जो आप हैं
Actually,
उसको
Dambha
दिखाना
means to show off that which you do not have.
जो
But
आप
even
नहीं
if
है
you
तो
have
दिखाना भी
something,
चाहिए ना फिर
why do you have to show off
कि मेरे को
that part also?
सम्मान मिले
Because even if you are showing off the right thing, there
जैसे
also you have some desire
वो
for name and fame,
भौतिक सुख
support from society
तो ये
to get
भाव आ
something
जाएगा
material. So this bhava is
इन्हीं से फिर अधर्म
will be
शुरू होता
there.
है
So from there only then
और
adharma
इसे छोड़ने के
begins.
लिए आपको वही करते रहना
Then
पड़ेगा
in
जो
order
आपने
to
पिछली बार
maintain, in order
बताया
to manage that, you have to continue what you showed earlier.
फिर
It's
आप
not
उन्हीं
that
का
people just come once.
उन्हीं की
Then
सेवा
what
करेंगे
happens? Your whole life becomes
तो इसका
engaged
मतलब
in
ये है कि आपको
serving
नहीं
the
रहना
public
चाहिए
only. So we
जिससे
should not derive this meaning
अच्छा आचरण
from
करेंगे
Loka Sangraha.
और आपके
It
आदर्श
simply means that we should act
दूसरों
properly
पर प्रभाव पड़ेगा
and that will
और साधु
influence others.
साधु
And
समाज
if
में
you are a
अगर
sadhu,
अपने
then
ठिकाने का
sadhu samaj does not mean that you become a sadhu and live
साधु
like a
समाज
lazy
में
fellow.
बहुत
Because
प्रसिद्ध
in,
दोहा है
in sadhu samaj there is a very popular
अजगर करे
saying,
न चाकरी पंछी करे न काम दास मलुका कह गए सबके दाता राम तो मलुक दास एक बड़े भक्त हुए थे तो
so
उन्होंने कहा
Maluk
था कि
Das ji was a great
अजगर
devotee.
जो है
So
इतना
he
बड़ा
said
शरीर होता है
that,
और इसको
see,
खाना बहुत
the
मुश्किल
python
होता है
has such a big body, but he
इतना बड़ा
doesn't, the
रहता है
python doesn't do anything.
इसको भोजन
He
मिलता है
just lies down.
और ये जो पक्षी हैं उड़ रहे हैं
See the birds flying in the sky, they do not work, they do not perform any job, they still get food. Then the question is, why is human being working? So he says Bhagwan Ram will give everything. So the general opinion is that one who has given you birth, he will feed you also. So you do not need to work. So many sadhus they speak like this, but Bhagavan does not support this notion. Now Maluk Das ji must have spoken this from a different, a deep vision, some deeper angle. People do not understand that, but they derive wrong meaning from what he said, and they bring the meaning that you do not have to work only. So Bhagavan is not supporting that. He says that you should always be engaged in action. You should never be lazy, always remain enthusiastic, but work without attachment to the result. So we will stop here. If you have any question, you can ask.
आपने बताया कि द्वेष भाव इस जगत में मूल स्थायी भाव
Question,
है.
you said that Dvesha is the mul primary sthai bhav in this world,
तो
not
प्रीति
Preeti.
का मतलब लौकिक प्रीति.
So which Preeti do you mean? The worldly Preeti? So answer, there is nothing called Lokik Preeti. That is why there is envy. That's why father and son they also fight. Brothers also fight, isn't it? Husband, wife, they fight. If there would have been Preeti in this world, then why would they fight? What is your experience? What is your personal experience?
I don't know.
आपका अपने माँ बाप के साथ बहुत प्रेम है?
Do you have a
नहीं.
lot of love for your parents? Do you think they have a lot of love for you?
तो फिर क्या कहती हो मालूम नहीं?
Then how can you, why do you say you don't know whether there is love in this world or no? There is envy only.
प्रश्न है, कृपया ईर्ष्या, द्वेष तथा असूया
Question,
के मध्य
please explain the subtle difference between Irsha, Dvesh and Asuya.
असूया होता है
Answer, Asuya means to see fault, to impose faults, even if there is no fault in the other person. Irsha means you see others' progress and you start burning internally. These are all part of Dvesh only. Dvesh is one general word. Dvesha means to desire harm to somebody else.
दूसरे का अनिष्ट करोगे उससे आपको बड़ा सुख मिलता है, वही द्वेष है.
If something wrong happens to somebody else, then you feel happy. That is Dvesha.
हमारे संस्कार जो
Next
हमारे
question.
आचरण के मूल कारण है तथा हमें
Our
अपने
samskaras are the main cause of our behavior
क्या ये
and
परिणाम
they
जीवन में
determine
आने से
what
परिवर्तित हो
actions
जाएंगे?
we do.
हाँ तो
Will they change if we act with awareness? Answer, yes. So samskaras are created by performing karma only. Samskaras have not dropped in you from somebody somewhere else. Whatever you have done earlier, whatever you have experienced, that has created samskara. So if you want to create new samskaras, then you have to perform new karmas. If you want to get good samskaras, you have to perform good actions. If you want to have bad samskaras, then you perform bad actions.
कृपया अपना प्रश्न पूछें.
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी. प्रश्न है कि
Question,
अगर कोई
if
छिपे हुए अपना कर्म कर रहा है,
somebody is doing his karma hiding and somebody is doing bhajan hiding,
एज इन कर्म योग कर रहा है और छिपे हुए कोई भजन कर रहा है,
one is doing
सही
karma yoga
उद्देश्य के
in
साथ,
hiding and somebody is doing bhajan hidden from others with the right objective
सेम है.
without any mithyachar, will they have same result? Answer, no, the result will not be same because
उसका असर, उसका प्रभाव
the result
वो केवल कर्म कर रहा है ये तो एक बात है, लेकिन कर्म करने के पीछे जो भाव होता है ना, जो आपने कहा,
The point is that, as you said, that he is not doing mithyachar, he is doing karma. What is the depth of that bhava?
उसमें घनता है, इंटेंसिटी जिसको कहते
What is the intensity in his
हैं, उससे
bhava
फर्क
who
पड़ता
is doing that?
है।
That is what will create impact. And if different people have different levels of intensity in their bhava,
लेकिन असर जो है
so result will be there,
उसको कहते
but
हैं
that will depend on the intensity
क्या,
of
पवित्रता,
the bhava, on the level of
पवित्रता
purity.
कितनी है।
What is the level of purity of the heart?
और दूसरा दुराचार कर रहा है तो उसकी अपवित्रता कितनी है,
And if somebody is
तो
doing
उसके अनुसार
durachar,
उसका
then what is the
संस्कार
level
होगा।
of impurity? So these things, they determine the level
और
of the
बराबर
impact.
पढ़ने से कहने का मतलब ये भी है कि बराबर इसलिए नहीं कि दोनों का अलग अलग पड़ेगा,
And also,
जो गलत कर रहा है उसका गलत प्रभाव, जो अच्छा कर रहा है उसका अच्छा
one who
प्रभाव
is doing
पड़ेगा।
something wrong, he will have a bad impact. One who is doing something good will have a good impact. So results are different.
हमें कहा जाता है
Next
कि
question.
भगवान पर पूरा विश्वास रखें और यह
It
माने
is taught
कि
that we
वे
should have full faith
हमारे
in
धर्म की रक्षा
Bhagavan
करेंगे,
and
लेकिन दूसरी
to
तरफ यह
accept
भी
that
कहा जाता
he is
है
the
कि भगवान
protector
उन्हीं
of
की ही मदद
dharma.
करते हैं
But then it
जो
is also
दूसरों की
said
सेवा करते हैं।
Bhagavan helps those who
यानी
help
हमें
themselves.
रक्षा
Meaning
स्वयं करनी चाहिए
that
और अपने धर्म
it
की
is
रक्षा
it
भी
our
करनी चाहिए।
responsibility to
तो
protect
यह सवाल
ourselves
है
and
कि
our
भगवान
dharma.
पर विश्वास करना काफी है या फिर
My
हमें
question
अपने
is
धर्म
it
की
sufficient to
रक्षा
have
करना
faith
ही
in
नहीं चाहिए?
Bhagavan, or we should
कार्यवाही
also
करना भी जरूरी है।
be
इस प्रश्न को
active
हम कैसे
in
समझें और
protecting
इस प्रश्न का
ourselves and
उत्तर
our
क्या है?
dharma?
तो इसका मार्गदर्शन तो भगवान गीता में कर ही रहे हैं, यहाँ पर
So
सीधा
answer, Bhagavan is
गीता ही
explaining already in Gita.
स्वयं इसका एक उदाहरण है।
Gita is the example, the ideal example that
कर्म नहीं करना चाहता है,
Arjun was not interested in performing karma,
लेकिन
and he was
उसको
thinking
बार
what
बार बोलते
Bhagavan,
रहेगा ना
whatever Bhagavan will do is fine.
कि आप
So that's why Bhagavan is
नियम कार्य
teaching
धर्म समाचर कर्म कीजिए,
that
तो
you
हमने पहले भी
continue to
बताया था
perform
कि कर्म
karma.
जो है
So I had told
शास्त्र के
earlier
अनुसार
also,
शास्त्र रीति से कर्म करना
karma
वो
and
कर्म है, उसमें
dharma, whatever is
कर्म
done
के फल
according
की
to
कोई बात नहीं
Shastra,
है ना।
that is karma. Dharma
शास्त्र
is also a karma
शास्त्र
only.
के विधान के अनुसार जो आप कर्म
Working
करते हैं वो
according to
कर्म
the
है।
injunction of
तो
Shastra,
नियम
that is
कार्य
dharma,
धर्म
karma.
समाचर, वो कर्म का मतलब धर्म ही है, जो कहते
So
हैं
what
धर्म
is
कर्म
told here
करना
is
अपना
dharma
धर्म, वो
only.
कर्म ही है, वो
What is told
शास्त्र
about
अनुसार
dharma, that is
उसका पालन
karma.
करना चाहिए।
Establishing dharma means to
तो
teach what
ऐसा
is
कहीं नहीं
the
लिखा है
karma
कि
for
आप
different
बस
people.
भगवान के भरोसे
So
बैठ
it is
जाइए
not told
और सब
anywhere
कुछ
that
करिए,
you just sit
कम
relaxed
से कम
depending on Bhagavan.
भगवान से
At
मिलिए,
least
तो ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं कहते।
Bhagavan, who is teaching Gita, he has never
क्या यहाँ तक कहते हैं कि
nowhere
आपने सब
spoken
कुछ
like
कर लिया,
this.
तुम
He
निमित्त मात्र
says
बनो,
that I have done everything,
तो
you just become
कर्म करना है लेकिन
nimitta.
उसका हमें अभिमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
So we should do
अभिमान
karma,
नहीं
but we
उसका
should not have
उसका
abhiman for
मतलब
that.
अपनी मेहनत
We
नहीं
should
करना है।
understand that everything is happening by
क्या है कि
mercy of Bhagavan, but we should
वहां से ये
work
नहीं
with
है
our
कि
fullest full
सब कुछ
energy.
मेरे कारण हुआ,
That's what he is showing here, that Arjun is doing everything,
हम
but
स्वयं
then he thinks that everything is happening by
अपने हाथ में
Bhagavan's
काम
mercy.
लिए, उसके अनुसार कर्म
So
किए।
Bhagavan wants that we should work according to our
तो
qualification.
करेंगे क्या,
But if we do not work according to our qualification, what shall we do? Because we will engage our energy in doing something.
कुछ तो
Why
करेंगे ना।
Bhagavan said that nobody can live
अगर हम
without doing
नियम
anything.
कार्य
So
नहीं
you will
करेंगे
always do something. So
तो
if you are not working for dharma, then you will work for adharma,
अजगर होकर अजगर की
because
तरह
you have
बैठे
only
रह
two
सकते हैं।
options. You just cannot sit
हमारी जो
relaxed
शक्ति हो सकती है,
like some python.
जो
There
जड़
may be some very, very rare people
दत्तात्रेय
like
ऋषि का
Jad
उदाहरण ले
Bharat or
सकते हैं,
Dattatreya
या
Rishi
ऋषभ देव
in the
का,
11th canto, or
तो वो
Bhagwan Rishabh
जो
Dev.
स्थिति है
Those
उसमें
are
बैठे हैं,
extremely rare
कोई व्यक्ति
and
बैठा है।
advanced examples. So
तो
you
कार्य
cannot take them as
जैसा
example.
मैंने कहा अभी कि
Point is
सबका
that
स्वभाव
everybody has to work.
तमें भगवान
That's
कहते
why
हैं ना,
Bhagwan is telling everyone has to work.
वो स्वयं कहते हैं
Bhagwan, it is
सन्यासी
not something new he is telling.
करोति है, सन्यासी च वही सन्यासी है। सन्यासी का मतलब ये
So he says
सोचता
that
है कि
sannyasi is one who is
तो उसको कहते हैं
always
कर्म नहीं
engaged
करना, लेकिन कर्म
in
फल छोड़
action.
दिया।
So he's telling what sannyasi
यहाँ पर
has given
सन्यासी
up is not the work, he has given up the result.
कहते हैं कि दो मत बताते हैं कि कर्म करो ही मत, और दूसरा ये है कि कर्म फल छोड़ के कर्म करो।
So one is that you do not work, and another is you work without
तो ये
attachment. So
बात जो है
Bhagavan
मतलब
prefers the second
कहते
option,
हैं भगवान
work
कहते
without
हैं
attachment. So why our Hindu
कि
dharma got destroyed?
कोई भी
Because of
व्यक्ति
this type of thinking that Bhagavan will do everything.
चाहे भगवान राम है, चाहे
if you see any avatar, deity of any avatar of Bhagavan, then he is always having some weapon in his hand. So what he is teaching is not that he is holding the weapon and he will do everything for you. What he is teaching is how he is holding a weapon, you also hold the weapon for your own protection. And if you do not do that, Bhagavan is thinking, what is the use of helping a lazy person? If you yourself stand, uh, if you arise for protecting your dharma, then Bhagavan will also come to help you. And if you are lazy, then Bhagavan will think, why I do not need such important people.
प्रश्न है क्या
Better let them die.
संसार के लिए बहुत अधिक कर्म करने से हमारा मन आध्यात्मिक विषयों को समझने में सुस्त हो जाता है?
Question: if we are doing lot of karma, do we become lazy in understanding spirituality?
आप समझा रहे थे कि जिस प्रकार आसक्त व्यक्ति बहुत अधिक कर्म करता है,
अधिक का मतलब क्या होता है? अधिक का मतलब कि वो अपना समय व्यर्थ नहीं करता है।
What do you mean by doing lot of karma? Point is that it do not waste time.
का जो समय है उसको आप व्यर्थ की चीजों में मत लगाए। जैसे
You should not use the time in useless activities.
हो गया, अब हमारा वीकेंड आ गया,
Like, people say that this is summer vacation, now it is weekend.
प्रक्रिया है,
But we do the same thing daily, our daily morning sadhana. Not that today is Sunday, so today I will not do my daily sadhana. This is New Year day, I will not do my daily sadhana. So we do our daily sadhana.
प्रश्न है
Like that you have to work.
होकर न्यूट्रल
Next question.
है इस जगत में?
In this world, is it possible to have a neutral state devoid of dvesha? Answer is yes. But it is not easy to achieve that state.
हो गया। चलो
We'll recite the prayer verses.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्ति पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम् हरि ओम तत्सत्।